Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Block Podcast Studio is in the building. Your host, Montana.
And your co-host, Vernon Tyus.
All right. So good afternoon to all the Block members, all the people out in community world, all the future business entrepreneurship owners out there. So I'm going to give announcements real quick and let you know what's going on in the month of September and what we did this past week and last month. To keep you guys updated. So, group home training for Miss Dora's class will be on this Saturday on September 7th. So, if you want to get your group home started or thinking about getting a group home or just stuck on the middle part of got the group home and then you don't know what else to do, come to Miss Dora's class. It's going to be September the 7th at 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So it's an all-day event. Bring lunch, breakfast, dinner, bring your pillows, books, everything. You're going to be there all day. You will get a certificate at the end of the program, a state certificate with the accredited hours that you need to give to the state to go ahead and get licensed. So that's going to be this Saturday, September 7th at 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. The address is 503 East 200th Street. We're in Suite 103 in Euclid, Ohio. If you want to register, give me a call, 216-978-0386, 216-978-0386. Also, we have the 501c3 for-profit training coming up on Sunday, September the 15th from 1:30 to 4:30. So if you always had desires to have a nonprofit and you have a nonprofit, but it's just been sitting there for like 3 to 4, 5 years, come to the training class, learn about your nonprofit, learn about a for-profit, learn about LLCs, everything. The class is September 15th from 1:30 to 4:30. So if you want to register for that program, call me at the same number, 216-978-0386. That's 216-978-0386. Again, the address is 503 East 200th Street, also in Suite 103, Euclid, Ohio, 44119. Last but not least, we have the second part of the group home training, which is the medications part. Is going to be September the 20th from 11 to 5. And that is also with Ms. Dora. So that will be your last certificate, group home training to get done. And you will get that certificate at the end of the program. So you will need 2 certificates in September. The first one will be September the 7th. And the second one is September the 20th from 11 to 5. And again, that is with Ms. Doris Jacobs at our BBLOTT location. All right. So let's talk about some things that was going on last month. We had a lot of things, community events was going on. I participated in a parade, which was amazing, with the National Congress of Black Women. So it was an amazing event. It was a good experience. I got to, see a lot of things that happened in a parade. I got to meet a lot of people. It was just an awesome experience. And pretty much they do this every year. And this is my first time being in a parade. So it was a long walk. So we went from 100 and I think it was 45th and Kinsman all the way down to Luke Easter Park. And then after we got down to Luke Easter Park, they had a good get-together, good ceremony get-together, and everybody was networking and mingling and, having a good time.
Now the bruh started that mingling thing, right?
Okay, I didn't know that. See,
the Q started that mingling thing. Big shout out to the Q Psi Phi, the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. They were also in that parade, and they were hopping at every intersection.
Every intersection. Okay, I didn't see that part.
Marching and hopping at every intersection. I know everybody else seen it. I don't know how you missed it.
I was in the front because they put the important people in the front and leave the non-important people in the back. No.
So as
just kidding, bruh. Just kidding.
As my brother Chuck Benning would say, we started that gangster.
Oh, okay. It was good.
We started cooking and bringing out the big fat grill and put the chicken on there and set out the sides, and everybody come and eat for free. But it was a nice community thing. The whole community just comes together, and as my tenants say, we march from all the way from 149th.
Okay.
All the way on down to Luke Easter, and then there's a big set out in the park, wholesome set out where all the community and participants and politicians was there.
Right. It was a event. It was one of the things I never seen before. It was like the biggest parade I ever even been in or seen. And we should have that in other communities as well, because that is an awesome, like I say, experience to just come down and see your politicians and see your police department and fire department and nonprofits and people that's fighting for rights, and sororities, different sororities was out just, having a good time and just, a fellowship, just to be there at one big event. So yes, if you missed it, please attend next year, because I'm sure they're gonna have another one next year for Labor Day.
I'd like to give one personal shout out to my other brother, Tony Scott. Happy birthday, man. We had a nice time at his birthday party.
Okay.
So this weekend was full. It was fulfilling. It was wholesome. Fellowshipping all 4 days.
All right. Happy birthday, Tony. All right.
Let's talk about what led up to this fulfilling weekend.
Okay.
Talk about that seminar.
So wait, let me give a shout out, since you giving shout outs. I got to give a shout out to the Golden Shades of what?
Copycat. Go ahead.
I gotta give a shout out to the Golden Shades of Ebony Sigma Psi Pi. Whee! All right. So okay, go ahead. We had a seminar / workshop last Thursday at Glory House or Glory Movement with Pastor Nathaniel Berg. It was a tremendous, wonderful event where myself and Mr. Tyus, we was talking about starting a business, charitable gifting. We were talking about insurance, how to work your insurance, and that magnitude. And you want to elaborate on some of the things we talked about?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you what we hammered in on. A lot of questions had come about on infinite banking, bank on yourself, that type of policy. And what I like to stress is that it's never a product. So you got people that go out and they buy whole life insurance policies thinking that they about to achieve this whole banking theory. And this banking theory is something that I've been doing for 20 years, and we used to call it LERP, where you overexploit the cash value of a life insurance policy, whether it's a whole life or a VUL or an index UL. So let's talk about what we talked about that day, because there's a clear difference between the index UL and the infinite banking product used with a whole life policy. So first of all, you can't go to any carrier and do this infinite banking thing, or I like to call it legacy banking, which I got from your son. Okay, he named the product.
Let's give a shout out to my son, Terry Turk Jr. He out in California right now. He grinding out there. Let's put it like that. I haven't seen him in it's almost a year, so hopefully he coming home soon. So if you out there, shout out to my son, Terry Turk Jr.
So so the product that I always teach my agents and my advisors is that you design this product where it still leaves a legacy. Mm-hmm. Where if you leave $1 million to your kids or your heirs, then let's maintain that $1 million, and that's a perfect strategy with the whole life. A dividend-paying whole life product,
right? Where
you develop or you acknowledge the cost of the whole life, and plus what you add to design it, and then decide that what you're going to dump in on a periodic basis, whether it's monthly, every 6 months, or every 3 months. That way you can use the money not just for retirement, but maybe it's to build up assets along the way and use the money to buy more assets outside of the life insurance policy. So we had a great deal. We had a good time talking about it. The church received it.
Yeah, I think there was a cultural shock. A lot of people that was in the audience were people that were, I guess, studying how to do it, but they didn't quite know how to get to that level. And Then we had a lot of insurance agents. Well, not a lot, but a few insurance agents was in the audience, and they was even shocked. Mm-hmm.
So let's clear the air with this.
Yeah.
Just because you bought a whole life policy don't mean that it's a banking style policy. And just because you bought an index UL, you got to understand the difference between the index UL and versus the whole life. You can get a lot of cash value with the index UL, but the guarantees that exist in the index UL is very limited. That guarantees that's inside the whole life is plentiful. It will be there, okay? Yeah. It's a lot of things you got to do to the whole life to make it lapse, but there's a lot of things that can happen in that index UL where you won't have that policy if you take out too much money.
Okay.
So that's what we went over. And then we talked about the charitable gifting.
Yes, we did.
How to pair that up. So, and before we get over into the charitable gifting, so everybody will understand, when you come to BBLOTT, there's always 3 things that I always tell you that get you exponential growth. And it's very, very important. Mm-hmm. And that is being able to own property, to align real estate with that property. I mean, not real estate, business ownership with that property. And then having permanent life insurance. Those 3 things right there get you perpetuity and exponential growth in your financial world. So, and that would take us right on over to charitable gifting, is because that's how most endowments, that's how most charitable gifting strategies are developed on a very macro level. So when we start talking about endowments and things like that, think about the biggest tools or the best tools that are delivering inside these endowments. We're talking about permanent life insurance on executives, major contributors, right? Those things will deliver 100% return
Right.
at death, okay? Maybe 5.8, 6.2% on cash value, right? And then turn around and have real estate. In every endowment, you want to see some real estate in there, and that's going to deliver passive income. And we already know passive income for real estate should be somewhere around 8% cap rate to about 11% cap rate, depending on how strategic you are. And then that last one is the structure itself. Having the business structure that will be able to hold these assets, right? And let those assets develop that passive income and that capital appreciation. And in some of the ways that we teach, if you have the right structure, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, a 501c3 structure, then the capital gains is tax exempt.
Okay, all right.
So that in that charitable gifting, just think about it. That's one benefit of the charitable gifting, is being able to set up that structure. The other benefit of the charitable gifting situation is to be able to go out as an endowment or a foundation and accumulate or acquire real estate for free.
That's deep. That's real deep. Wow.
So we talked about that. Now imagine that. Charitable gifting concept inside of a 501c3, and you go out and you try to help the community by looking at distressed properties, and you have it donated to you by a person, a community development, or just a government entity itself, and they donate this property for free, and you come up with the means to take care of it, rehab it, and create some passive income for your favorite cause. It's massive. Right. So now you got all 3 components just working together: the business structure,
right,
the life insurance, and the real estate. And you can add some more things in there in between, but those 3 are the major contributors to that financial growth inside of these type of components.
All right, so let's ask some Q&A. So basically we can break some of the things that you said down.
Let's go.
People might have questions. So if I were just learning about this, and let's say I'm, middle age or older, and I want to start this, what would be the cost? Because I know a lot of people say, what is the cost to start this? Is it, does whatever the cost is, does it take it out of my death benefit, or how is this developed step by step? So there.
Okay, I wish I can give an example on TV, but I'm not allowed to promote illustrations in the public like this. But I can give you an example. Okay. So let's say hypothetically you got a 35-year-old, right? And the 35-year-old says, look, I have kids and I want to start off with $1 million worth of insurance, but I also want to do this banking style. One of the things that we got to consider, and this one 35-year-old did come to me and say, look, when I was working at the police department, I was making $70,000. They were roughly taking $7,000 a year out of my check. Okay. Oh. And he was putting away another $7,000 in a retirement plan.
Wow.
So that's $14,000 going to a retirement plan. So let's say that this person says that I want this $1 million. This $1 million is going to cost me, in our particular plan, it's going to cost me $200 a month for $1 million of permanent insurance. We have a way of taking another $500 to $1,000 and putting that into a bucket.
Okay.
And that bucket is going to give them 3% guaranteed interest rate. Guaranteed. It could go higher. and plus dividends. So that money is easily accessible right then and there, okay? But the cost, you have to consider to be separate. That is the cost of your insurance.
Right, okay.
But the extra money is basically discretionary.
All right, so now they understand that the cost is not the other part of the bucket.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not the other part.
It's not the other part of the bucket, it's just that one part.
When we talk about this type of concept, we are not talking about cost mainly.
Okay.
The cost is already understood. We're talking about how much money can I put away for tax-free distribution at a later date, or access to money that I can use and it still grow, which we call uninterrupted growth, where you still have money sitting and then you can borrow it, leverage it to go buy another asset and let that produce some passive income.
Wow.
So now you got money and assets growing in two different places at the same time.
Okay.
And I like to call that AKA the velocity of money.
Okay. All right. So then we talked about charitable gifting when you was talking about giving examples of real estate with the church and how they can use the infinite banking strategy in that. So can we elaborate on that, or
a church or a
facility or building?
Yeah, a church or a charitable organization with major contributors. With major contributors contribute life insurance policies. Right, they can donate life insurance policies to the organization. Excuse me, or they can. The organization can take life insurance policies out on those major contributors or executives. So when you think about organizations holding those life insurance policies, and at the same time one of those organizations can have real estate donated to help out the community, they can use the passive income from the real estate to pay for the life insurance policies and also use other assets. And you got to keep in mind, when we start talking about charitable gifting, we start talking about charitable organizations. If you get into investments outside of life insurance, then you have to use what we call prudent allocation. So we start talking about bonds and stocks, but more bonds than anything. So now you got all these assets that real estate can pay for, and you have a cyclical growth tool that can last forever.
Right. Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you answered it, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think it's a magnificent thing. I have been on boards. I have sat in meetings with endowment planners and stuff like that, where these type of strategies was employed, and this is the reason why we have foundations that are 100 years old, 160 years old, because they have implemented strategies just like this.
Okay. So since we got that cleared up, the classes, sitting in the classes at BBLOTT, let's talk a little bit about what to expect when they're coming to one of the BBLOTT classes.
Okay.
Or you want to still talk about?
No. Let's talk about that.
All right.
So I think the prime candidate for a BBLOTT member is someone who seeks or has the aspiration to know about business structure. A lot of people that come here, they want to understand the business structure of a nonprofit and a for-profit, and how, and if you're a business owner, what should your relationship be with a nonprofit? And there's a lot of red tape, but at BBLOTT you should learn, you should pay closely attention to how to navigate to avoid, not avoid the red tape, but avoid trouble. Okay, understand where that red tape is at and to value that red tape. Okay, that way you can help out the organization, the charitable organization, and make money at the same time and take care of his, and take advantage of his tax benefits.
Right.
All right. So in detail, you want me to go into detail?
Yeah, go into detail.
Okay. Yeah. And then week one, we do what I like to say, hands-on financial literacy. And we're not going to talk about checkbooks, how to write a check, how to open up a bank account and all that stuff in your personal. Okay. We talk about financial planning. So basically, we just go hands-on financial planning with your personal in week one. And then Montana breaks the ice on what it is to be a 501c3. So she breaks the ice and debunked all the myths about a 501c3. Week two, you come up with the name for that baby, as Montana say. The name of your organization, whether it's the for-profit, non-profit, or both. And then week three, we get straight into planning. So you should have your articles or whatever your business is with the state done.
Yep.
Have your social security done or tax ID number done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then have the proper documents. You're going to learn how to put together the proper documents and what's needed for both the nonprofit and the for-profit. And my favorite in week 4, understanding the authorities. Mm-hmm. The authority that you have as a statutory agent and incorporator, understanding that your authority as a business owner in a for-profit is not the statutory agent or the incorporator. All right? Understanding what a manager is of these organizations and understanding your power, and then understanding the power that you give out, whether it's an express power or some implied power, and learn how to protect yourself.
Good information. Really good. All right. And also, week 5, you will be applying for your 501c3, your 1023 application, to where if you want to do the short form, of course it's online. You're going to bring your laptop in, and then we're going to teach on what the application is saying and the different answers, and basically you fill out your application right then and there. If you have to do the long form, then you have to get this, it's online as well, or you can bring the stack of papers, the little stack of the 1023 application. So it just depends on if you are already a for-profit business and want to be a nonprofit, or you just none of the above, and then you want to establish the nonprofit. That's going to be in week 5. And then did you talk about week 6?
Week 6?
Yeah, I think week 6 is like marketing and grants. So the grant class is coming up with with Dr. Turpin. It's going to be, I think, October the 9th and 10th, I do believe, but I'm not quite sure, but I can get the correct dates that she will be holding a grant class right here at BLOTT office. So if you're interested, getting the BLOTT class, learning information, and then you'll be ready for the grant writing or the grant class come October. All right, you guys?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also like to mention this. There's been a lot of questions about what's the difference between a LLC, S corporation, and C corporation when we start talking about taxes. And I'm going to say there's no difference between a LLC and the corporations. They're not comparable. Okay. So when someone asks the question or they say that you file taxes as an LLC, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is false. You don't file taxes as a LLC. That's not what happens. So when like an accountant called me and she challenged me on this, and she said that I was watching TikTok. This is a CPA saying she was watching TikTok.
All right.
And then I had another accountant ask me the same thing.
TikTok got a mini series. I need to watch it. What time it come on?
So they get this information where they talk about the LLC and how to file taxes with it, and they say, well, I'm gonna go back to the state and I'm gonna file an S corporation. Well, you got to understand the benefits and what an LLC really is. An LLC is an entity, limited liability company. All of them are limited liability organizations, but the LLC is one of the newest, formulated in 1977 for asset protection purposes, but it also, the government gave it flexibility. And the laws of an LLC for asset protection changes in between different states. But when we start talking about the taxes, a LLC can take on the tax feature of an S corporation, C corporation, and what people think that they filing as an LLC in taxes is not an LLC. It's a sole proprietorship or a partnership.
Right. Because I know a lot of people, they get themselves in some trouble a little bit because they were trying to get loans and they try to do other stuff that they can't do because they don't have no paper trail of what they have in their business finance department.
I think a lot of people like that Schedule C, which is a profit and loss, and that goes up under your personal name. A lot of people like that because they can maximize their write-offs. But at the end of the day, you looking like your business didn't make any money, and you looking like you didn't make any money when you get all those tax write-offs. So if you ever seeking to have your business create some business funding, and for you to start being bankable to buy your brand new house or your house, you got to start some tax planning. And the Schedule C is something that you might want to graduate from and go into the corporation status.
Right.
And when I say that, I'm not saying get rid of the LLC. I'm saying just change your tax status.
Right.
So, and if you want more information on that, just give us a call. And what's that number?
The number is 216-972-0386.
Right, that 978.
Oh, I'm sorry. 978 Well, you know what you're telling me to say it.
I just know it when I hear it wrong.
216-978-0386. Then what number I was giving out?
I don't know. You gave it out to H&R and Block, whatever they is. You gave out their number.
Okay.
But if you need information about that, you call that number that she just said, and I'll be happy to audit what you got going on, and possibly get you the right changes and see where you're trying to head to.
All right, and then if you want to come in for private coaching, we do have private coaching. If you don't want to come to the class and sit down and sit out the whole 6 weeks or 7 weeks that we are here, if you want to do a private coach and say, hey, I need that one-on-one training where I can just sit and I can ask all my questions without sitting in front of a bunch of people, we do have private coaching that you can set up. You will be talking to me or Vernon in that private coaching piece. And then basically you have that, you have every question that you want answered. You can bring people if you want to feel more comfortable, if you want to bring your friends, family, business professionals, you can, and they can also sit on your private coaching session as well.
Hey,
all right.
And one more thing.
All right.
Again, a big shout out to Glory Movements.
Yes.
Awesome crowd. You picked up. We had a lot of people that was picking up this information and regurgitating it like right away.
Yeah.
So, but if y'all need, I'm talking to that crowd and anybody in the public. Mm-hmm. If you need some scenarios drawn up for you with that banking style, life insurance, and any other asset, just contact Montana at that 216-978-0386.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And we can schedule a time where we can illustrate some hypothetical situations and see if it's something that fits your financial model.
All right, and last but not least, if you want us to come out and do a workshop seminar at your facility or at your workplace or at the church, give us a call. You can schedule us to come there. We will come there and we will do a presentation at your facility of business as well.
Very good.
Other than that,
let's give them some more updates. Not updates, but let's recap on the
recap real quick. September 7th, Doris Jacobs group home training. September 7th at 11 o'clock at the BBLOTT office, 503 East 200 Street. September the 15th is a Sunday from 1:30 to 4:30, 501c3 and for-profit training, business planning, business structuring. And then again, Doris Jacobs on the 20th to end out with the group home training. It's going to be at the same time, 11 to 5. If you have any questions, concerns, give me a call, 216-978-0386. Until next Wednesday, was it peace and deuces? I don't know.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.